Perfect. So we're here with Vivace Maxvictor. Finally. I'm excited. So I want to just start off by telling you guys a little bit about her. Okay. By the end of this segment, you'll definitely know how awesome she is. But just to give you guys a little bit of a background, Vivace, she has her undergraduate degree in biology, right? And she also has her master's degree in biology. She took part in the surgical PA program at Cornell Medicine, right? And she's worked as a surgical PA for over 12 years. Okay, now Vivace, that is a bit different from what you're doing these days, right?
I'm into that.
Yeah, just a little bit different. What I'd like to know is what gave you your confidence, because you're no longer working medicine. For those of you who don't know, right, she no longer works in medicine. She is an awesome coach and speaker and trainer. What gave you the confidence to leave medicine, especially after you devoted so much into your education and so much time in the field?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. And for anyone who logged on yesterday, we had our lovely technical difficulties. So sorry about that. We really tried hard. So thank you for coming back today. So appreciate that. Honestly, I didn't have the confidence to leave, which is why it took me 12 years of being on the merry-go-round, going around and around and around merry-go-round, not giving myself permission to actually take a stand for my truth. And eventually, at the 11th hour, I call it decision day, my life changed on decision day. And honestly, our lives don't change until we make a formal decision to change our lives. And that's the day where a whole new wave of possibility becomes open to us.
Wow. I mean, that's definitely interesting, right? And I think all of us who are here watching, we're like, okay, right? Like, there's definitely something within ourselves. We're like, okay, like, where's our decision day? Like, what does that look like, right? When you just made the decision, like, what made you make that decision? No, I don't want to be in medicine.
I can't take it anymore. So, I mean, and honestly, a lot of coaching clients also ask about relationships. How do you get out of a relationship when you've invested so much time into it? Or
right.
in my case, I had invested so many years in pursuing the medical path, and then how do you leave it? Jim Rohn has an amazing quote. He says, we change either from inspiration or desperation. And sometimes we're not desperate enough to leave and we're not inspired enough to leave. So we stay in the same stagnant situation for days and months and years to come. I think ultimately it's interesting. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine and the true story is I was complaining to her and I was having a pity party. And I said to her, I was very dissatisfied with whatever was happening in medicine. And she said, why don't you just give a seminar? And the thought of it at the time was so daunting and I didn't want to go back. I had done seminars before and I didn't want to go back to doing it. And honestly, it was my ego. I used to have packed rooms and I thought, what if only 4 people come? And
right.
I couldn't give myself permission to stand in my truth and live for my truth and be authentic. I just didn't have the ability to do that. It was very inconsistent with my conditioning. So I didn't have the conditioning to go for what I want. I didn't have the courage to go for what I want. But on this conversation with my girlfriend, she said, why don't you just give another seminar? And I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I made the decision because if we stand in the common sense corner and if we're coming from our heart, the answer is really simple. We may not like the simple answer, but the answer is really simple. And so I thought from a common sense point of view, if I give one seminar for 10 consecutive months, at the end of 10 months, I will be in so much of a better position than I am right now.
Right.
So the decision was just to take the first step. I didn't leave immediately. So this was a decision made mid-July.
Okay.
2011. And then I made the decision mid-June for the July seminar. So I did, and literally I had these cheap little postcards printed out because it's all I could afford because I had student loans. I used to call it the student loan hostage crisis because honestly, because of my belief of the student loan hostage crisis, I wouldn't leave because I thought if I leave this job that guarantees, it was a 6-figure income. If I leave this, where am I going to go to do what?
Right.
So I really believed that I needed documents, academic documents, or some sort of certification, something to validate me in any other field. I didn't know that if we listen to our heart, that literally God walks us through.
Right. Vivace, you know what? there's so many points that I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I need to speak to this, right? And firstly, I want to start off by saying, so you said that when you moved out, like, and you decided, okay, I'm going to leave medicine, I'm going to pursue, this dream or this goal that I have, you didn't have the confidence yet, right? Because I think a lot of us, we feel
none, zero, none. No, I was scared. I was really scared. I mean, doing the first seminar, I was still in medicine. So it was June of 2011. I made the decision. I was still working in medicine. I had the first one programmed for July of 2011. I was so scared that nobody would come. I was afraid that I would look like an idiot. I would look like a loser. 4 people would come. I would suck. I would stutter. I wouldn't know what to say. I was just, it's literally all the ego fears.
Right.
So I was controlled and dominated by the ego. And so, and honestly, it came from years and years of growing up in a family of domestic violence and not paying attention to my feelings and shutting down my feelings and shutting down my desires and shutting down my wants and not even giving myself permission to go after what I wanted.
Wow. Vivace, for those of you who are just joining on, we're talking about we're talking about a bunch of things, right? But what we're trying to hone in on is achieving our soul-worthy goals, right? And I think a large part of that is identifying them, right? And then sort of uncovering the misconceptions we have about those goals. So if I want to kind of catch you up, Vivace came from 12 years in the medical field, and it started with a decision day, is what she called it. It was a decision day to step out. And I think the most important part that I've gotten so far to this is that we don't wait to get the confidence to step out.
No. The action builds the confidence. So I think the first step is to stand in our truth, and then to take an action that's consistent with our innermost truth. And once we take that first action and we start to get positive results, and then we take the second action and the third action, the next logical action, over time you become confident. What I've learned also is that our confidence, because people will let's say, teach me confidence. I'm like, the fastest way for you to have confidence, it's the fastest way, is to increase your level of truth telling. So if our level of truth, the level of which we're living our truth is here, our confidence is going to be here. If we're living our truth at a higher level, we're also experiencing confidence at a higher level. Why? Because there's not two parts of us that are antagonistic to each other. We're in alignment. Our mind and our heart are in alignment. There's this flow, there's a surge of power, a surge of confidence comes from being truthful and authentic to who we are as unique individuals. And I think often we're indoctrinated to follow society or follow family or follow gender rules. Or in my case, I came from, many of those things, but also making a fear-based decision versus a desire-based decision. My original reason for why I went into medicine was to make sure that no man could control me financially. Wow. That was a fear-based decision. It wasn't a desire-based decision. And I continuously made fear-based decisions until decision day.
And that leads into the fact that, how about, okay, so you had to be making, Vivace, some serious dollars, okay, as a surgical PA, and especially a surgical PA who had 12 years. I feel like, and I think with a lot of us, we get that fear to move from what we're currently doing and pursue that goal is our fear of the change in our income. Yeah. So how did, explain to me, what was that leap of faith like? To go into something.
So in my mind, again, I did it incrementally. I did the first one in July. I did the second seminar in August. I started to build some confidence and momentum from that. And then before the third seminar, the September one, I already left. I didn't plan to leave that early. I think, honestly, when we take 1 or 2 authentic steps, the universe rushes in to help us through the remainder of the steps. Wow. But I didn't, I was so fixated on that money and paying my student loans and not being controlled and dominated and having that certainty, even though my soul was dying inside. What I failed to even think about or consider was that if I did what I loved, I would be making so much more money. Wow. And so I think there's a power from standing in our truth and standing in our authenticity. And there's an attraction force of all types of abundance that come when we're in the abundance of our spirit and our soul.
Oh, Vivace, will you? Well, you're certainly you guys. I mean, you're certainly speaking to my soul, guys. I want you guys to put some notes in the comments. Vivace is making a bunch of she's having like those power phrases. One of them that I got is action builds confidence. Right? If you can just put in the comments, action builds confidence. That's what She Moves is all about, Vivace. That's why it's She Moves Life, right? Because we're all trying to get out of the state of what's in our head and actually see it come to fruition in our actual lives, which is why it was so important for me to have you on today, because you definitely speak into that. And what I want to do is I want to take a back step and define what a soul worthy goal is. Like, what is and how can we identify that soul worthy goal in ourselves? Is it something that we already know and we just refuse to think about? Like, do we all have it and we kind of like push it aside?
Yes, it's inside of us. It's so interesting because what you're describing is the noise in the head. And once we shut down the noise in the head and we learn the discipline and the training to shut down all the extra noise, you could start to hear your heart or your soul, whatever you want to call it, the higher part of us, the pure part of us, the most powerful part of us, the most truthful part of us. We start to listen to that. Soul worthy is when your soul, you do something and your soul has a happy face emoji on it. And your soul is like, that's it, girl, you got it, go for it. And we know because we're in alignment, because there's no internal struggle. There's a part of us, even if we're doing something that's really challenging, like when I left medicine, I was so scared. I was absolutely scared, but I was also certain that I was guided. I was, right? I had the belief that I believe in a higher power, and I believe that this power was going to guide me, just as it guided me through medicine. I mean, I was so guided, and I'm actually in the Cornell Medical Library now making this call. So I feel so excited to be back in this library. Obviously, I wasn't so excited when I was studying here.
Right.
And there's so much like privilege that we have of being exposed to all these things that are there to support us. And so even the medicine supported my growth, and it supported my greatness, and it supported my power, because it was something at that time. It allowed me to elevate. And I think people want to go from 0 to 100. Do the next one thing. Do the next best thing. Do what you have access to. Do what you can afford. Right?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest mistakes that I made, sorry to interrupt you. One of the biggest mistakes that I made is, I call it wait and see. I kept waiting for something to change. It didn't occur to me that what had to change was my heart and my mind. And if I only listened to my heart, that all the answers were there. I would see the answer and I would shove the answer away. I would see the answer and I would shut it down. I would see the answer and believe that I couldn't do it. I couldn't see the way to the path. Right. But all I'm asking anyone to do is just to think of the next logical right step. And you know what that is in your spirit. And it's soul worthy when that thought brings you inner peace. Even if it's hard, there's a part of you that knows it is true and right. And always we know the truth. We know the truth. We can deny that we know, but we know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think whenever, because I'm kind of like a serial, like I jump into my dream and then I jump back to base, and then I jump into my dream and then I jump back to base, right? And I think that maybe, that's maybe one of the steps when you are starting to kind of step out and kind of gain your momentum. But one thing I would always say to myself is, okay, what do I have right now? Like, what do I have right now that I can use to get towards that? Because I think you're right. A lot of people do try to go from 0 to 100, right? They're either all or nothing. But I would say to myself, okay, what do I have right now that I can use that's going to bring me a little bit closer to where I'm trying to go? Vivace, someone wrote in the comments, they wanted to revisit. They wrote, what's the other one? She said, not making a fear-based decision.
Making a desire-based decision.
Desire-based decision.
Look at your desires. Come from your truth. Come from your essence. Come from your power. What if I stood, because I couldn't even stand still to say, what do I want? That wasn't a part of my vocabulary. It wasn't a part of my thought process. My thought process was, what should I do?
Right.
What are other people expecting me to do? What has society told me I should do? Not let me go listen to my heart. When I wanted to leave medicine, I mean, surgeons, nurses, the rest of the staff, they all thought I was crazy. Oh, you want to be a life coach? Like, is that even a thing? And I didn't know if it was a thing, but I knew it was my truth.
Right. And guys, I want you all to know, Vivace has told me that she is willing to, you're welcome, she's willing to answer questions. So if you guys have a question, and more than just a question, what I want to say is, I know for a fact that anyone who's watching this has something inside of them. And I think I did a video on this before. I know that there's something that you want, that there's a fear, there's something that's stopping you or hindering you, or maybe you don't know what it is that you want, but you know there's something, right? If you have a question that you want to ask Vivace while we're on the line, type it in the comments because she's willing to answer it. Vivace has done, I think, thousands of coaching calls. Okay, like she does this. She's extremely busy and she has carved out, some of her very important time to be here in the group with us. And I want you guys to kind of gain exposure to this. Wait, did you want to say something, Vivace?
Yeah, I do, because, for the 12 years that I was in medicine, and the reason why I got into coaching accidentally, I would say in some manner, is I was graduating Cornell in 98. And right then and there, it was the month we had to study for our medical and our surgical boards. And I took 2 weeks of that to go to a personal development seminar. And I was obsessed with going to these seminars. I would take student loan money. I was obsessed with going to these to figure out what was wrong with me. And literally what I learned was the only thing that was wrong with me was that I wasn't listening to my truth and I wasn't honoring it. And I didn't recognize that it was like some sacred thing that was built within me that I had to honor if I wanted to be fulfilled, if I wanted to be happy, if I wanted to feel powerful. So people talk about feeling comfortable in your own skin. I also think there's this idea of feeling powerful in your own skin.
Right.
And when we're coming from our truth, there is that surge of power that comes also. So
Yeah.
If people are scared, of course, it's normal to be scared if that's what your brain was conditioned to do. So there's this concept in neuroplasticity. It's there's nerves that fire together, wire together. So basically, if you've seen yourself in a particular limited way for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, your brain is literally just firing that neural pathway. There's nothing actually wrong with you. It's just that you have to train your brain to fire a new neural pathway, to think in a different way. Basically, it's like creating a new highway in your brain. So instead of you going and falling off the ledge, like to your point where you said, hey, I take a couple of steps and I take a step back, right? You're going towards your goal and you stop. And that is just a thought process, is a learned habit. And a lot of, at least for me, was learned self-helplessness, to think, okay, I'm stuck at this point.
Okay.
The mentality was learned self-helplessness instead of self-empowerment, to say, okay, what's the next one little step that I could do? Who can help me? So the two major questions are, what do I want and how do I get it? If there was a third question, is who can help me? And sometimes we have too much pride to ask for help. And I didn't want to ask for help. I thought people were too busy to help me.
Yeah. Or I think a lot of us think like, no one's going to get me, right? Like,
they still didn't get me.
Yeah. And that's what I think it is. Like, no one's going to get me. No one's going to understand. And some of us have dreams that are so big that they're like, no one's going to believe this, like no one's going to think that I can do this.
Well, the only person who has to get you is you. And until you get you, even if they all get you and you still don't get yourself, you're never going to feel that deep down fulfillment. So the goal is, and I think what you're doing right now is so great. You're bringing a bunch of women together, and I'm sure there's some guys listening too.
Yeah.
Empowering people, you're cultivating this community of people who can come and inspire one another and say, listen, I was where you were too, and here's what I did differently. And the biggest questions that I ask all my coaching clients, and I thankfully work with a tremendous number of really, really successful clients. But the question is always the same. The question is, what are you willing to do differently? And it doesn't matter if it's a relationship question, a career question, if it's a parenting question, if it's a family question, if it's about their physical body, if it's about their self-confidence. Until the moment someone is willing to do something differently, nothing will change.
Yeah. And it's so funny that you said that, because someone wrote, does this apply to relationships as well?
Yes. Person, right? To that person.
Yeah.
I want to know if that person, like, what is your relationship situation? Cough it up.
Yeah, and just so you know, we are in a bit of a delay, right? So we're a little bit above, like we're a little bit. So whoever wrote that, because I can't see like the people who wrote it, I can just see the comments.
Okay.
Tell us what you mean by that. When you say, does this apply to relationships? Like, do you have a goal that you're trying? Like, are you trying to get to like another level in that relationship? Or
some people are in a relationship and they want to get rid of that relationship.
Or some people want to get in a. That's true.
Other people want to get in a relationship, but they have so much historical data in their mind about how men are terrible, or it's not going to work out, or what's the point?
Right.
You know what your truth is. So to that person, if you're dating someone, I'm telling you that deep down inside, you know the truth. And
Wow.
so if you just pause and you listen to what are you being guided to do, and then the brain might be too afraid to take the next step. But if that's the inner wisdom saying go left or go right, that answer I've learned is always accurate.
Yeah. Wow. I think that I feel like what you just said definitely hit some people like a two-edged sword. Like, right? Like you don't need
You always know. Come on. If you've ever dated somebody or been on a first date, deep down inside, you know. And I think there is that inbuilt intelligence that we all have. We may have muted the intelligence, we may have ignored the intelligence, but if we give it permission to rise up, the truth is self-evident. I think every person knows their truth on some level. It's just how much are you willing to deny it and disregard it for how long? And then the quality of your life is consistent with the amount of time you're willing to disregard your actual truth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, Vivace, she wrote back. Okay,
Yes.
so it's a little bit, and I'm curious to kind of see what's gonna happen here. But she wrote, all right, so it's a long-term relationship.
Yes.
They're married. It's a marriage. She says they have a wonderful friendship, but there's issues with infidelity. Now, I think what we need to know is one, are you trying to work this relationship out, right? Or are you trying to build up the confidence and the self-love to kind of move on and explore other things, right? Anything you want to add or ask about
Yeah, no, my only question is, what is your soul screaming for?
Or I know you say too, like, what does your soul crave, right? Like,
Crave. I mean, if I don't know who's doing the infidelity, and I don't know how important that is in your list of hierarchy, but if a person has a need and that need is constantly not being met, or that need is being violated, at some point we have to look at our self-worth. What is our self-worth in order for us to be putting up with a situation? So typically when I ask a self-worth question, my general question to someone, because people are like, what is self-worth? My general question is, okay, you want to know what your self-worth is? Look at all the things you're tolerating. That's your level of self-worth, right? Because if we're tolerating all this stuff, it can't be our self-worth is up here. We're tolerating all this. Our self-worth has to match the results on some level. And so to the person who's going through that, my question is, what is your soul screaming for? What do you want that you're not getting? What do you believe that you deserve to get? Yes, I see.
She wrote not this. Like,
well, amen to that.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know the truth, right? So if you feel that this infidelity is not consistent with your value structure and that you want something different, you have every right to go and create any type of reality that you want to that's within the integrity of your spirit.
Yeah.
So for some people, they have open relationships, they don't mind. But for someone, that's going to cause internal pain and chaos and fragmentation, where I've had clients that they're so super focused on the relationship that that is sucking their energy and their power and their drive and their self-esteem, that they can't go and multiply their income, and they can't go and do incredible things in their career. Or even if they do, the people who are super successful in their career, the part that is causing us stress, that's the part we think about when we wake up in the morning and we go to bed at night.
Yeah, that's true. Can someone write in the notes, because you said another nugget. You said your self-worth is equal to what you tolerate. And can we just reflect on that for a moment? And can we just reflect on that? Because it's so true. Because if we thought that we were worth more, then we wouldn't tolerate that thing, right? If we thought that we were better than that and we were worth more than that, then that's not something that we would be putting up with.
Absolutely. I would like your viewers to, I know we can't see them, but I would love them to raise their hands, because I've done this in corporations and it's really interesting in a corporate environment to ask this question and have people be authentic about the answer, because people sometimes want to be too cool for school in front of their colleagues.
Yeah.
But literally every time I've asked this, like, at least, I'm not a mathematician, but at least like 90% of the hands go up. So my typical question is, how many of you are amazing tolerators? And like, literally, what is that about?
Why? Like, why do I tolerate it, Vivace? Like, why? Right? And
well, I think it has to do with the conditioning. Like, that's the way your brain was wired to fight.
Some hand raises, just so you know, we got some hand raises up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, I think, especially as women, we are conditioned to believe that if we tolerate any type of struggle, whether it's relationship or career or family or children or whatever, that it makes us a better person. No, not true. It's going to make you a miserable person, people. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Look at what you're tolerating, and then look at what you believe about yourself. So here's a question.
Someone wrote, I think it's a woman's flaw. Do you think, I mean, and to say that, I think I feel like I understand 100%. It's a woman's flaw, but does it have to be? Right? Like, does it have to be?
That's why you're doing what you're doing right now, Shatoma. You have this forum to create an opportunity for people to either ask questions or make comments or bring in a different consciousness and awareness of, okay, like if all the people who are watching this or people in the future will watch this and they'll look at what am I tolerating and what do I have to believe about myself to tolerate this? And what we have to believe about ourselves to tolerate is I can't do better. Right. That's the belief. Because if the belief was I didn't leave medicine, I was clinging on to it like a koala bear while I was dying inside spiritually because it wasn't my truth. I mean, I was so grateful. And it's still like sitting in this library. I'm so grateful. I was grateful level 1,000, but fulfilled level 1. I wasn't fulfilled. And so I kept tolerating and rationalizing. This is okay. It's not that bad. If I turn myself into a pretzel, I can make it okay. And I kept trying to make everything okay. And in the end, in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, it was never okay.
It's never okay.
It's never.
You're absolutely right. And we're getting some comments. Someone says, if it makes you dim your light, then yes, it's a flaw. That's so true. Let me just
notice what are all the things that I allow to dim our light. It's a co-creation, right? No one's coming and forcefully dimming our light. It's we're granting permission for someone to come and dim our light. And majority of the time, I could say this for myself, I was dimming my own light all day long.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much light was in there. I didn't have access to the light because I was too busy living the program and doing what I thought I should do because I never paused. I call it a pregnant pause. It's a pregnant pause so that you give birth to something new. The pregnant pause of saying, what do I want? And what do I want to stop tolerating? And why am I tolerating this? And just think about it for all of you who raised your hands. Where did you learn this skill set? The skill set of tolerating nonsense, of tolerating pain, of tolerating lack, of tolerating infidelity, whatever you're tolerating that's causing you chaos and pain and anguish.
Yeah.
You learn a skill set because it really is a skill set to sit there and just tolerate.
Yeah. Does it, I mean, I'm assuming, Vivace, that it comes from what, like experiences? I think it boils down to a decision too, like a decision, like where maybe there was that one time that you tolerated it, and then the next time it was a little bit easier to tolerate it again, right? You kind of beat yourself. I mean, I hate to say beat yourself down, but in a way, you know, I kind of feel like, you know, even if I started off and my standards were here, you know, by the end of a relationship, sometimes your standards can be like all the way down here, and you don't even know how you got there. Yeah. You don't even, you know, it just happened so quickly. Someone wrote, they do it to make other people comfortable, like to make other people happy.
Yeah, so here's what I want you to think about. All you people pleasers out there, make sure that your people pleasing isn't soul displeasing. You can make all the people in the world happy as long as your soul is not suffering. But recognize when you overvalue someone above yourself. You overvalue their thoughts, their feelings, their needs, and you say it's okay for me not to get what I need. And I'm not saying to value yourself more. I'm saying find equal partnerships where two people come together, or a group of people, like-minded people come together, and they all have higher standards, and it'll draw out the best of you. So you're right, we do tolerate, because part of the people pleasing is if I don't please these people, then I'll be alone.
Right.
The fear of being alone. But I find that we're more alone when we're disconnected from our spirit. Like when we're connected from our spirit, you could be in a room by yourself and have a grand old time.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are times, and for whoever's listening, you're at home, you have the music blasting, you're dancing, you're having a great time. you're pleasing yourself, you're pleasing your spirit, you're taking care of what you need to take care of without trying to please the masses at your own expense. For what? There are no brownie points for this.
Yeah.
No brownie points at all for suffering.
You're so right. And I think too, and going back to what you said, like when you're like in connection with your spirit, I think whenever I'm not, taking care of myself and like deciding what makes me happy, that almost leaves me more vulnerable to depend on other people to do it. Like when I'm not paying attention to what I want and I'm kind of just, operating, like I'm kind of like in this lost state. And it's like, whoever is like more immediately right there, it's like I kind of start depending on that person to kind of make me happy, or thinking like, being around them is what's gonna, make me happy or make me feel better. And that's so inaccurate. Whereas if I just started off at my base and tied to my soul and figured out, what I liked and what I enjoyed, I think I would even enjoy the people around me that much more or that much better. I wouldn't be looking, in them for something that they can't give me.
Well, what you're looking in them for is the thing you're unwilling to give yourself, right? So if you look within yourself, the thing that you're seeking out there is the thing you're seeking within yourself. Once you can give it to yourself, you won't be that needy. And a huge part of coaching, at least the way that I do it, it's all based on self-mastery. What do I need to master in myself to have the life that I love?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is self-reliance. And I think sometimes as women, we're not conditioned to be self-reliant. We're conditioned to rely on this one, rely on that one, rely on the other one. So I think self-reliance, just saying, okay, what do I want? And what would self-reliance do? Right? To get out of learned self-helplessness where we're waiting for someone to come rescue us. Girl, rescue yourself. Right? Yeah. We're powerful.
Hashtag that. Hashtag that. Girl. Hashtag girl, rescue yourself.
Right.
You can totally do it. You can totally do it.
I waited for 12 years. I swear to God, I would be in agony doing this work because I knew it wasn't consistent with my spirit, and I couldn't imagine doing anything better because my self-worth was so low and my self-concept was so broken. And I felt so, coming from such a violent family, I felt so broken and inadequate and unintelligent and not pretty, like every not thing I felt. Yeah. And then because that was all in my head.
Yeah.
Years that wired together. I was literally wired to think so little of myself. And then as we start to take action and we take personal responsibility and we say, okay, today's a brand new day. Like July 31st, 2018, what are you willing to do differently? What are you no longer willing to stand for? What are you willing to no longer tolerate?
Right.
What do you deserve? What do you desire?
What do you deserve?
What to do? So one of my things that I talk about is called the luxury of being you. And I really believe that each person has this unique gift placed inside of us. And our job in this universe is to find this treasure box within ourselves and to open it and to amaze ourselves and then to bless the world with it. And sitting there waiting for someone to rescue us, they're not going to find our box.
No. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So there's all right, so let me go into the comments a little bit because there's definitely some okay, so back to the woman. And I'm so glad you guys are on watching. Thank you guys for coming back tonight and being on with us. They wrote, how do you attack this change? Okay, so it's the relationship one that we addressed earlier. How do you attack this change without turning into, she wrote, without turning into a bitch to your partner? Like, and I think you kind of answered that because I think it starts with yourself, right? Maybe not so much.
So my feedback would be, first of all, to have a little bit more transformational vocabulary. Just notice the word, how do you attack? Why are we attacking? We're standing in power and we're declaring. We're not attacking.
Yeah.
You stand up for yourself and you say, this is who I am and this is what I desire. Are you willing to give this to me? Are you capable of giving this to me? Have you demonstrated that you will give this to me? And because I don't believe you are capable of giving it, here's what I'm deciding. There's no attack. It's a conversation of truth and authenticity and power, not giving your power to another person for them to tell you what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
Forget about attack and defend. Stand, declare, emote, tell the world, tell the universe what you're no longer willing to stand up for. And definitely don't even get in the spirit of attack now. Am I saying it'll be easy? It'll be easier than the way you're living.
Yeah.
Because then you're taking a stand for yourself and what you deserve. And there's tremendous power in that, even given the uncertainty that it creates. When I went to medicine and I had these incredible student loans, I mean, I felt so much pressure, but I felt for the first time, I felt this incredible pride. There's tremendous power in that, even given the uncertainty that it creates. When I went to medicine and I had these, something just happened to the volume.
No, is it back normal again? Okay, good. Yeah.
So can we go back to that lady? Does that lady need anything else?
Yeah, you know what? And I mean, I think that was great. I mean, yeah, if you do, I wanted to what I want to do is I want to jump on another screen because I want to see you guys' names. I know, I've probably spoken to a bunch of you guys a million times, but did that answer your question? Did you
ask that lady? Can we ask her what is she afraid of?
That's it. And I think that's a lot. I think everyone who's watching, I want you guys to answer that question. And you don't even have to post it, right? But ask yourself.
No, for her right now to tell us.
For her,
all invested in her story.
Yeah.
What is she afraid of? And why is her frame the frame of attack?
Yeah. All right, so we'll give her a minute to answer that. What are you afraid of in that relationship? What are you afraid of? And why do you
not even not just in that relationship? What are you afraid of? So sometimes people will say, well, I'm afraid of what's out there is worse than what I have. So they're not actually afraid of the relationship. They're afraid of what's behind the relationship.
That's a good point. You know what? That's a good point. Oh, she's afraid of giving up on a good marriage.
How does she define good?
What's your definition of good? Maybe, I mean, and I don't know, are there...
Her definition of good, right? Because she said to give up on a good marriage. It depends
on a good marriage.
What constitutes a good marriage? If there's infidelity, is that a good marriage for this lady? If it is,
Or you know what, and you know what, I think it's true because there's so many different, and that's why I feel like it's so important for us as women to come together because there's so many different layers, right?
Like this lady, sorry to interrupt you. I get so excited about the coaching part of it. Right?
I know. I'm waiting for her to respond. As soon as she responds,
extra homework, right? So yeah. It's for her. What was her sentence exactly? Read it back to me, please.
She wrote, when she said when you asked her what she's afraid of, she said giving up on a good marriage.
What about giving up on yourself? I want to know, when did you, in that relationship, when did you start giving up on yourself? And if you're a person of faith, when did you give up on faith? And not the faith that he will change, but the faith that you'll pursue your truth. She said, a great father. He's a wonderful friend. He's dependable. She said they have a good partnership with mutual respect. So what I think that she's saying is the friendship part. Well, does she count the infidelity as mutual respect? That's a good point. So, and that's why I wanted to know before. I'm assuming, and I think we're getting from this, is that I would assume that, one, you want the infidelity to stop, right? But it's something that I think she's willing to work through as long as he'll stop. And if you can just write, like, yes, like, if I'm trying, because you know me, like, and that's my problem about you. Like, I feel like I just see so many different angles to so many different things. And I think it's great to have you on because you can identify that false thinking that we have. Like, I think we start. I want to know the question, because if the lady's stating that she doesn't want to leave a good marriage and she's also stating that there's infidelity, to her, does infidelity constitute a good marriage? Right. They're two conflicting ideas, right? And so to say that this man is a wonderful father, check. Wonderful friend, check. But is infidelity something that is okay for you in a relationship? If it is, then check. But if it isn't, then to recognize I went to a seminar years ago, and it was a 9-day seminar. And okay. So Vivace, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. There were two different people commenting when we asked, right? So the same woman, she said she's afraid to give up on a good marriage. She said that he's a great father.
he's wonderful. He's a wonderful friend and he's dependable. She didn't say that it's a good partnership with mutual respect. So that one she didn't say. So far we have he's a great father, he's dependable, and he's a good friend. And she said, if he'll stop the infidelity, but that's so hard to predict. Like, so I guess there's some so I guess he's saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're saying if he'll stop cheating on me, like if he'll stop going outside of the relationship, then I do want it to work. I want to make it work. But I guess
two people have to come into agreement, right? We have to come into agreement with another person. And is it his truth to be devoted to this lady? If he has a different truth than her and the truths are incompatible, then there's a point where we say, okay, our truths are incompatible. And is this something that this lovely woman wants to stay in? Or is it more important for her to find another good man who also has this additional quality that apparently is very important to this lady?
Yeah, and you know what? And let me just say this, Vivace, she is a great woman, right? She's a business owner, right? And just from I know, she's a business owner. She's a hard worker. She has a beautiful family, beautiful, right? And
that sounds like she deserves the best.
Yeah, she does. She absolutely does. She deserves the best. But what do you say to that? Because I think that she's not the only one, right? Like, I personally have been in relationships where, I've been cheated on and I didn't necessarily leave right away. Like I thought I, wanted to.
Do with values hierarchy. What do you value more than being with this person? Do you value your sanity? Do you value your well-being? Do you value your emotional comfort more than holding on to this person who is unwilling or in the past has been unwilling to give you what you want?
Yeah.
It has to do with, it's called the value hierarchy. What's the hierarchy of your values? What is most important for you? So if the person says what's most important for me is to keep the family intact no matter what's happening, then that's one truth. But if the person says what's most important for me is my well-being as a parent, to show my child values and healthy boundaries, then that's a different situation. So I don't think there's a one size fits all answer. I think my coaching style is to continuously ask questions that are clarifying questions, like what is a good marriage? What are you tolerating? Why are you tolerating it? What do you have to believe about yourself to keep tolerating it? And does he have any intention to change? I mean, if he has the best of both worlds, and if there are no consequences, people typically don't change when there's no consequences.
When there's no consequences. That's so true.
And especially when I think sometimes also people know you're a good person, so you're just going to put up with it in any situation where the person says, oh, this person's just not going to do anything.
Right. Someone else wrote, I don't think infidelity equals finality. It's a real case by case, and thank God people can change. Absolutely. I think we both agree with that, right, Vivace? Like,
I think it's up to the person, right?
Yeah.
It's up to the value structure of the person. Does that person come and say, I'm so sorry I did this, or I realize it's really hurting you and I don't want to? And there are other people who have a different reality and they have a different preference in life and they prefer to have multiple partners. So it has to do with what is each person's truth and the compatibility of the truth of the two partners. So they may be compatible when it comes to parenting, their truth is the same. But when it comes to a monogamous committed relationship, they may have diverging truths.
Yeah.
I believe it. Listen, if two people want to agree on anything, people can make it work.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Wow. So is there anything else? Does anyone else have any questions? I think this has been like awesome. I think this has been awesome. If anyone else has any questions, but and I feel like there's some people that just jumped on. We were talking about your soul. We were talking about a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I believe this conversation just kind of took a life of its own, and I'm so grateful for that. Can I just say that one, I value the transparency that's happening here because it's so easy to watch these things in silence and secret, but it really takes someone that wants to change and implement that change to really get out there and write something and like seek out the help and the answers that you're looking for. So I think that was just great. And I think to the woman who was writing that, you might have just, there's so many people that are watching and not commenting. You could have just answered someone else's question and impacted someone else just by simply putting your story on the line, right? And I think that that is just so powerful, and I need to just give major kudos for that.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage to do that. And when we put the question out, the answer doesn't have to come that second.
Right.
The answer will come in a way that resonates mostly with your truth, in a way that you can hear it at the right time in the right way. So you can pose the question tonight. The answer can come to you tomorrow when you're taking a shower. It can come to you when you're walking down a street. You can turn on the TV and see something. I think it's important to ask the question of our truth. It's just important. Just asking and saying, this doesn't sit well with me, but I'm afraid to let it go, right? Because the lady said, I'm afraid to let a good thing go.
Yeah.
Again, we want to look at the description, what do you define as a good thing? And then what is the emotional impact? A lot of times, some things on paper look really good, but the emotional impact on that person is so overwhelmingly damaging.
That's a good point. I think, and you brought up this question before, and that question in particular changed my life. And that question was, what do you deserve? Right? Like, what do you deserve? And if someone could write that in the comments, and if you could really sit there, and we went off on like a relationship tangent, but this applies on so many different aspects. It applies to your career, your business, your relationships, your fitness goals, right? Like your health goals. What do you deserve? And what I want you to speak to is because and me personally, I say to myself that, I'll say, I deserve this, but then my actions don't necessarily align with what I just told myself, right?
Yes. So that is, you want to look at if your desire, it's a desire belief mismatch. You have a desire, but the belief that's operating in your head is mismatched to that desire. How do we know what our belief is matched to? It's our current result. And so if we want a result that we don't have, we need a new belief to support the new result.
Okay, so that was an equation. Let's revisit that. And if someone could write that in the comments, you said your desire, repeat that, your desire.
I want to make sure that we don't have a desire belief mismatch. So you have a desire, but then the belief is mismatched.
Right.
So let's say my desire was to do the coaching and my belief was I can't do anything. I'm not good at it. My belief was fear-based beliefs. Not, oh my God, yes, I'm going to go do this and be great. We have to look at what are the operating beliefs that we have about ourselves. What is our self-concept? How do we see ourselves? What's our identity? What do we say to ourselves?
Right.
So it's not a push-pull, constant tug. It's, when I do a corporate presentation, I usually like to define what is fierce self-confidence. And so typically I'll say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I'll put up this image of, it's a cartoon of a brain and a heart holding hands. It's really cute. And so when our belief is matched, our belief up here is matched to our desire up here, down here, right? There's that flow, that energy. And then it's like from this point, we say, I deserve. I think, but what I've coached a lot of people and even very successful people that get stuck on this, but how do I know I deserve this?
Right.
And so if it's challenging to do the deserve thing, just stay in the desire, just be into, desire this, I desire this, I desire this. And over time, as your self-worth starts to enhance and elevate, you will automatically start to believe that you deserve it because you'll have a new set point. It'll be your new normal.
Yeah, there's, and let's just, wow. Okay, so.
Your smile is so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Like to yours as well. Okay, Evangelist Park, she wrote, I deserve the right to be true to myself and not feel indifferent with my truths. I have the right to own my truths and the right to change my mind as I grow and learn. That was powerful. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Well said.
Well said. Another woman wrote, so many great things on the other side of our fear. That, I think, right, and I think that's what we're pretty much talking about in a nutshell, right? And it's getting to the other side of it, because the scariest part is when you're
getting to the other side up here, right? It's getting into the other side up here is saying, okay, if I weren't afraid, what would I do? Oh, I would do boom, 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 boom. Let me just go do it.
That's a good question. Someone write that. If I wasn't, because I want the people that's going to catch this on the replay, right? Because I know this is going to just go. But someone write that. If I wasn't afraid, what would I do?
Right. And then, so if you ask yourself that, right? If I weren't afraid, what would I do? And you come up with 5 answers, just go do those 5 answers.
Just do it.
Just do it. Sidebar the fear, right? Just sidebar it in your mind. We want to no longer be dominated by this fear. Don't let that overwhelm you. Just sidebar it. Say, I wrote down these 5 things. Who can help me? What are the resources that I have? And who can help me get through it? And then one step at a time. And believe me, as you start to do this stuff, and I'm sure your viewers have tons of experience with this, the universe will rush in to support us when we're standing in our truth and our power and our authenticity.
Yeah, I believe that.
For you to have what you want.
I believe that. And I guess you know what, I believe that. And the question is, ladies, is do you believe that? Right? Do you believe that if you took the leap into, well, one, if you determine it, well, I'm like keep on backstepping, but if you even took the time to sit and ask yourself what you want, right? I think that would even start, because I feel like so many people are just sort of stuck in a cycle of like their day-to-day lives. Are you even stopping and asking yourself, what do I want? What will make me happy?
So that is habitual thinking versus proactive thinking, right? It's Groundhog Day. We're thinking whatever we thought yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. So we want to stop and have a proactive thought to say, okay, what do I want? And for a lot of people, to your point, they haven't clarified the desire yet.
Right.
A lot of people will just say, well, I just don't want this.
Right.
What do you want? I don't know. I just don't want this. So first of all, definitely take the time and space to, what do you want? And, what would an ultimate life look like for you? And what would it feel like for you? And sometimes, we write things on paper. I know there was a time where, this is before the coaching took off, and I was like writing my fantasy little list down. And so I wrote down, wouldn't it be awesome if I could do 5 coaching calls a day? Now, that would be 25 calls a week. If you don't have any clients and you're thinking, hey, 25, where do I get one, let alone 25? But to allow that to live on paper. And then fast forward the videotape, I was doing 7 calls a day, 7 hours of calls. And I was like, wow, this is too much. I need to backtrack. I think it's important to write the actual goal, even though at the time it's so inconceivable for us. It's like this fantasy goal. But once you write it down, I do believe the subconscious mind starts to process that when we at least give ourselves permission to write down what we want on paper. So whether it's a relationship goal, a fitness goal, a financial goal, a family goal, a parenting goal, a contribution goal, to at least give yourself permission to write it down on paper and give it life. Bring it to life, at least through your pen.
Yes, I agree. And we have like a bunch of people, and this is why I love this group. Like we're so supportive of one another, and everyone kind of just like gives their tips and fit it. But someone wrote, let me just find it. Someone wrote, I think starting with the smallest thing on your fear list will give you the confidence to conquer all areas. And she said she's been applying that. So she writes down the things that she fears or the things that she's afraid of, and then she conquers like the thing that she's least afraid of and kind of goes in ascending order.
Okay, so can we make it just a little bit better?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I love that she's doing that. And what you want to do, just to like not psych yourself out, but to psych yourself up. The thing that you fear. So if you say, whatever, I fear leaving my job, or I fear leaving this relationship, or I fear going dating, whatever the fear is, right? Some people fear going to the gym because they don't want to be judged. Whatever the fear is. So this lady seems like she has itemized her fears, which is amazing. So she takes those fears and makes 2 columns, right? So one column is her already itemized fears from least to most. Right. The second column could be my desire is. So my fear is this, turn it around, make it a desire statement. So let's say if somebody said, my fear is going on a date. They've been married, they're divorced, they haven't been dating for too long. So my fear is going on a date. My desire is to find an incredible partner. My fear is going on a job interview. My desire is to have a job that is so fulfilling, mind, body, and spirit. Okay. We the fear so that we're not trying to like manage the fear, like as the lady had said, the word attack.
Yeah.
It's going towards the desire. There's this concept in neurolinguistic programming, NLP. It's moving towards or moving away. We
Right.
want to move away from fear and move towards our desire. So we're not constantly thinking, this is my fear and I'm going to go conquer it. We're thinking, oh, the translation of my fear is this desire and I can't wait to go get it. And this is my move towards it.
She said the end goal. I like that. Exclamation points, exclamation points. It's so true. And I think what you just said, I think that also speaks to the women with the relationship that we were talking about. And you said this. You said, like, sometimes we only know what we don't want, right? Like, we know that we don't want this. And she said that when you asked her, like, you know, what do you want? And she said, you know, not this. Like, this isn't what I want. So I'm urging you to write, what do I want? Like, write what you want, right? So you know you don't want that. And applying what Vivace just said is, what, you know, right now, think about, what do you want, right?
And again, please, for the love of God, just write it down on paper.
Yeah.
Permission, because so many times we stop ourselves from even allowing to write it down. Who am I to write it down? It's never going to work out. What if someone finds a piece of paper? What am I going to look like? What are they going to think of me? I think there's so much power in writing our truth down on paper and giving ourselves permission to look at it and to be present to it. And then over time to become desensitized from, you know, just hiding the piece of paper to wearing it all day long and saying, this is what I want. How do I get it? And enrolling yourself in your desires. Totally enroll yourself. Get excited. I think what you're doing with this community is so extraordinary that you're taking your time. You're creating this space. All these people who are commenting, God bless them, that they're willing to be engaged, and all people supporting each other to say, we all deserve more and we can elevate each other. So I just want to say, I think what you're doing is so amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just want to, someone wrote that they can't hear us. So let me just ask again, is it the case for everyone? Can someone just confirm whether we are being heard right now?
Because we're having a great time.
We're having such a great time. And I just want to make sure that, you know, because nothing that Vivace says needs to be, everything that she says needs to be heard. So
You're very
if someone could just comment that you can hear. Okay. Okay, so we can be heard. All right, that's great. And if there's anything else you wanted to add?
I mean, I just think it's amazing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Kudos to you for doing it. These women, maybe they can give you some, they can write in about the topics that they hope you cover and ask specific questions and say, hey, we would love these questions answered. I think what you're doing is genius, and I'm excited for everyone who is willing to be patient with our non-connection yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you. Today, because I'm sure it was a huge inconvenience for some people. So
yeah, we really do appreciate that. No, really, thank you. And what I want you all to know, and I don't know if you've noticed this, you see me bringing in coaches and authors and things like this. I want you to know that these are people who do this. This is what Vivace does, right? And
all day, every day.
She does all day, every day. Someone wrote, my journey has started. Yes.
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 So can I ask a question to that person?
Yeah.
Ask the person, whoever it is, who are you now going to be on this new journey?
Who are you now
going to be on this new journey?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So answer that, because they can hear you.
Yeah.
So that this new journey that you're on, who is that person? Who is she now?
Yes. Who have you become? Like, who is taking the first step? Who is taking the second step?
Yeah.
Create your new identity.
Someone else wrote, come back again. We love it. We love it. We love you.
I would love to come back again. It's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I know. And I think I was skipping because they were kind of flowing in and people were writing. So I just want to make sure I'm going to do a quick
scan
down. Yeah. Someone was talking about writing down vision boards, life-changing. Oh, so she, that's the same woman that said, that she writes her things down on the list. And you were saying, write it down. She does the vision boards. Vision boards are life. Can I tell you, for the longest time, I didn't do a vision board. I knew it was everybody's doing these vision boards. And I'm rah, rah, right? I did mine. And I looked at it the other day because I kind of did it and I left it. And can I tell you that it scared me when I went to go look back at it, because I'm like on course to like all of those things that I put on that board. It literally scared me. A good idea is just a good idea. A good idea is just a good idea until it's put into motion. That's so true.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's so true.
I want to give one extra tidbit away. I just, the last couple of companies that I was presenting at, I asked everyone to look at what is their, and maybe people, I would love it if people could actually just in real time type it.
Yeah.
What is your number one complaint? So if we can get a couple of those in there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
What is your number one complaint?
Someone, answer that question, ladies. Write it in the comments. What is your number one complaint? With anything, right? I'm assuming with anything.
It's your favorite complaint.
So yeah, when she asked you that question, what was the first thing that popped into your head?
That one, the one that you do all day. What is your favorite complaint?
What is your favorite complaint? What is your favorite complaint?
Are they writing in?
Not yet. Let's see. Like I said, we are in a bit, so let's see. Someone write. They're probably thinking, right? Like, because I feel like
people know what our favorite complaint is.
I feel like because when you said it, I was like, okay, let me say mine.
Okay, do it.
But literally in my head, I'm sitting here like trying to think about what I want to say. But I'm gonna be honest. The first thing that I say, okay, we got it. Saved by the Bell.
Wait, no. You don't get a free pass.
No, you're right. Okay, so I'll start with mine. I always say, if I had more money, right? If I had more money, like that's what's stopping me. Like I could be this world-changing agent if I had more money. That's my number one complaint. I always say that.
The money?
What?
Why do you need the money?
I feel like I need the money to like, I don't know, like there's like software things I want to get that's gonna make things like easier or move faster. I always say like I need more money to like really. I found out, I learned about myself that I'm a perfectionist, which I didn't realize. Right, I didn't know this, which sounds kind of crazy, but I don't. You know how before we were saying that you can't go from 0 to 100, like you have to kind of start and take baby steps. That was always I can't say that was always my problem. That is my problem today, right? And I promised the group that I'm gonna be transparent. And you put me on the spot, Vivace, but that is my complaint. I want to go from 0 to 100. That in between space irritates me. I don't sit well there.
Can I help you?
Yeah.
All right. Take notes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am.
From 0 to 100, right, is happening in your heart. You got to give permission there. You keep stopping it with this dialogue, from what I understand, please correct me if this is inaccurate, of I don't have the money, I don't have the money, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. If that's your favorite complaint, how are we going to manifest what's in your heart? You created this Facebook group, right, with how much money?
$0.
That's in your head. I need the money. So let's say somebody says, well, she just said she needs money for the software. I would encourage you to create a business plan. And if you need the software, whatever you need, you itemize it, you post it on the Facebook group, and you see who's willing to support you. And you allow other people, they can contribute $10 each, $20 each to support you to get the software that you need.
That is scary. That's so scary for me. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know.
What's your story about that?
Yeah.
No, pop it up.
Yeah, you're right.
What's your story about, and I'm curious, when you think I need more money, right? And my curiosity is, how much money do you think you need? Like, give me a dollar amount.
It's like little. I think it's so little. It's so little, Vivace, that it's like almost embarrassing to say. Like, I don't know, like $5,000. Like, you know what I mean? I want to stop you there, because I said this. I said 2,000, right? Like, if I can just get an extra $2,000, which is so little, right? It's nothing crazy, but I would be able to increase like the marketing, and it's really like I just want to be able to reach more women. I want more women to know that She Moves is here, and I want people to be. I feel like if they knew what we were doing here, then more women would come, and the more people, the better, and we get access, to better people. And
you have 1,000 people now, right?
Yeah, a little bit over 1,200.
Okay, so if let's say 1,000 people at $20 each, you get your 2,000.
Yeah, I
If
know.
you create the opportunity for people to support you, and each person, I mean, I give you $20, right? If it's there's like, who is, please people chime in after you chime in. Like, who wouldn't pay $20 to support another human being to reach their dreams? Now, maybe some people are not in the position to, but other people are in the position to. And again, you don't need all 2,000 on day one.
Right.
Start with whatever the first software is, and the second software, and the third, and you can find sponsors.
Yeah.
I mean, you have such a luxury of having your personality and having your desire and having your chutzpah and having the it factor. You can get sponsors to sponsor you. As long as your belief is, your number one complaint is, I don't have the money, I don't want to say fear for you, but my concern for you would be that you will not see every other opportunity that's available to you right now. Because you have the most important thing. You know, you had asked me before on our original phone call, the difference between self-worth and net worth.
Yeah.
You may not have a cash currency, but you possess so much emotional currency and spiritual currency and desire currency. You have all of that. But if your mantra is, and the marquee on your forehead is, I don't have the money, you're overlooking all the power that you have that actually is God-given, that is priceless, that is not contingent on money.
Right.
You have 10 speakers come, and then you can have sponsors come.
Yeah.
For everybody who's listening, right? I wouldn't leave medicine because of the money. And so I used to work however many hours and sit there in my notebooks through all these numbers. I work this many hours, it means this much is going towards my student loans. That means I owe this much. And I was so obsessed with this that I had no access to my power. Because this was my go-to obsession, was the student loan hostage crisis. I felt hostage that because of this thing, but honestly, in reality, it wasn't because of that.
Yeah.
Right. So part of you saying, I have difficulty accepting things, my question to you is, why? Like, what? It's not just you, it's all the viewers, right?
Yeah.
Why do we have difficulty accepting greatness, accepting generosity, accepting assistance?
Yeah.
And so you saying no to the $2,000, right, is you saying no to the entire universe. Saying, no, I don't need your help. Don't step in right now. And what? For $2,000?
Yeah. You know what? You definitely. Oh, look. So people are. All right. So everyone is definitely taking your side, Vivace, right?
Yes!
So as I can like gain my Someone wrote speak into Shatama's life. Thank you so much for that. Someone wrote, your gift will make room for you, girl. Thank you. And then a bunch of people, I'll match 20. I'll give $20.
Yes!
You guys are great. And let me just say this, and I think this is the perfect opportunity. And you know what? And to answer your question, Vachi, I don't know. I don't know why I feel like I don't want to accept things, or like I don't like asking people for things. I like, you know what it is? I want to give.
Yes, I asked.
I want to give things. Really, you know what I want? And this is gonna sound crazy, right? This is crazy, but I want to just have all this money and like things so that I can just give it, like, you know, anything. I just want to give, and so I think it's kind of like if I'm getting something, that's taking away from me giving, but that's so wrong.
No, because you're giving us the opportunity and the joy to support you.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, and for all of those who are watching, what I am gonna say is this.
Give her the $20.
And so I was just gonna say, I'm not gonna take the $20, but what I am gonna do, what I'm going to do is, we are launching a premium She Moves membership. What we are gonna be doing is launching a She Moves premium membership, right? And what's gonna happen is you're gonna gain more extensive access to awesome people just like Vivace. We're gonna give access to like workbooks and training materials. Vivace, we've had like lots of authors.
No. I'm gonna speak for the people.
Yeah.
You're not living your truth right now, woman. You're just saying all these people, the universe came to give you something, and you blocked the universe and you said, no, thank you, go away, I don't want you. What?
I know.
A client of mine just shared this quote, and apparently it's a quote. But the quote she had heard, she said, "You have to be selfish to be selfless."
Someone just wrote, "You have to receive to give."
Yes.
What in the world?
I don't think you have a money issue. I think you got like a receiver's block.
Is that what that is? There's like a receiver. I think you're right.
You're blocked. You will not allow anyone to contribute to you. And then your story is, well, because I want to contribute to you, but that's kind of selfish, no?
It is. It is selfish.
So why won't you receive the gift that we're giving you? Do you need the room? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. We were supposed to do it for half an hour. Housekeeping can come. They can vacuum. Are they waiting for me? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just they like their rules. They can't have anyone in.
Oh, hi. Hi.
Well, first of all,
can I? Where can I go? Just across? Can I just walk and talk, or am I going to disturb people? This is a quiet area. How about if we wrap in 3 minutes? Would that be okay with you? Is that okay with you, ma'am? Okay, thank you. Sorry, housekeeping.
No, it's okay. And thank you. Because, normally, they all know, like, normally we go for 25 minutes. And this, I don't even know. We've been on for, I don't even know how long we've been on by now. Over an hour.
Over an hour, but housekeeping kicks me out of this room. Yeah. I really want you to give us the opportunity to contribute to you and to give that gift to you the way you're contributing to us. And for you to learn that giving and receiving are part and parcel of the same thing as the circuitry of life. Yeah. Now, just in our last 2 seconds, read one complaint to me, please.
Yeah. Let me read the complaints because they're definitely. I saw a lot of people say procrastination. I procrastinate.
Okay. Well, why do you procrastinate? What's your complaint? You don't know how to do it. You don't have what you need.
Someone said I need discipline.
So your complaint is that you don't have discipline?
Not enough time for. So they say I need discipline. I procrastinate, and I don't have any time for me.
Oh, well, first of all, you're making you time now, so this is good. We're interrupting your neural pathway. This is kudos to you for making you time now. I want to encourage everyone for 30 days. Don't complain about that complaint.
Okay.
Yep, 30 days. So on September 1st, you can take your complaint again. But just notice what happens when you don't allow yourself to constantly criticize and condemn yourself, like with the procrastinators. Just notice what would happen if you get out of a complaint mode and you get into the proactive mode of what you want. And you allow other people to contribute to your greatness and to your magnificence. Yes. And you, Mr. Toma, are going to be our leader for teaching us.
I am. I definitely am. I am. Thank you so much, Vivace. And just quickly before
everybody.
Tell us, thank you, everyone. Tell us your website and how people can reach you and find you on Instagram.
The best way is Instagram. So it's at Vivace Maxvictor. It's VIVACE. MAXVICTOR. I'll probably be on the link. The website is fierceselfconfidence.com, so you can go there too. But if you want, DM me on Instagram. Please follow on Instagram. I post amazing, cute quotes every day. And then this way we could stay in touch, and I would love to get to know who you are.
Yeah, and we'll get you back. I'm going to get you back, Vivace. If I have to hunt you down, I will find you and get you.
Here's the deal before housekeeping brings in the vacuum cleaner and throws me out. My deal is, if you receive payment from everyone who said they were going to match my 20, then I'll come back.
Okay.
But if you do not receive, then I will not come back.
Okay, that sounds good. I
want to know, what do the viewers think of this?
You know what? People are definitely taking your side. They're just like, yes, I'll give it to you on Sunday. People are just like, they're definitely taking your side. That's for sure.
Okay, well, if
I have some serious self-reflection and praying to do. And I know that you're right. And guys, this just speaks to the fact that I am your peer in this, right? And you could see that I literally just fell apart when Vivace was talking to me. I'm not the expert, but what I am going to do is give you guys access to experts and people that love this and breathe this and know what they're talking about. So that's my commitment to you guys. I'm your peer in personal development. And Vivace, thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. I thank you for the opportunity. It's amazing to see you. I bless you. I can't wait for everyone to like throw $20 bills at you and make it. I'm really excited for you to receive. And if your viewers want to say what they want the topic to be next time, then that would be awesome.
Yeah, and what I'll do is, Vachi, as they comment, I'll send screenshots. I'll email them to you so you can just watch at your leisure, okay?
Awesome. Thank you to everybody. Please follow on Instagram. Lots of love. Stop tolerating. Go for what you want. Desire-based decisions. And please thank this wonderful lady for putting this all together.
This was great. We love you, Vachi. Thank you.